Hi, I'm Jack from Jack Bell Photography, and today I'll be giving you 5 tips on how to improve your underwater photography with a DSLR. Point number 1, patience. That's the key to getting great shots underwater, whatever camera you use. Observe your subjects. Let them get used to you first of all. That has the key benefit of reducing backscatter, because maybe when you arrive, you stirred up some sand, and by observing your subject first, you can let that settle down. So that's key. Look for what your subject is doing. Where's it going? Is it sort of hiding somewhere? Maybe you can change position to take advantage of that sometimes. Because if you go to where your subject is hiding, maybe they'll be more relaxed then. Take some test shots from further away. So you get used to it. Take a shot from there, get closer, move your arms forward, and then move your body forward, and repeat the process. Learning the behavior patterns is important. Learning what your subjects like to eat is even more so. If you can observe your subjects feeding, then one, that gives you a much more interesting shot. It's a behavior, a photo of your subject doing something interesting as opposed to just breathing and just floating there. Second, maybe your subject is going to be more relaxed, and so they're not going to immediately swim away from you, so long as you take it slowly. So patience is really key to getting the shots you want, maybe the front-on shots rather than the tail shots, and also interesting shots such as behavior. Point 2, get close to your subjects. Getting close has a key advantage of reducing backscatter. But also, you can more easily set the focus position on your subjects, or you can get more depth to your subjects because you've got a foreground and then a background, or you get more detail in your shots. Getting close is important on macro, but it's also important on wide angle as well, because most wide angle shots are usually made more interesting by having a subject close to the camera, and then you can see the background behind them. Point 3, learn how to use the manual settings of your camera, and you'll get much better results. My normal aperture setting is f11, but sometimes I'll go to f22 or f25. That's great for maybe getting a black background to making your subjects really pop, but it also gives you a much greater depth of field. Sometimes I'll want to blur out a lot of the subject as well, so I'll go the other way. f6.1 or larger apertures will give you a much smaller depth of field and give you a nice portrait effect on a longer subject like a nudibranch. Also, I sometimes will change ISO as well. When I need to let more light into the camera, maybe protect the strobes a little bit, or maybe if I'm really shallow and the strobes aren't having much of an effect, then ISO can be more important, adjusting shutter speed and even white balance. If you're post-processing in an app like Lightroom, then all you have to do is take a picture of something white, click, and then you can adjust your white balance later on in post. Point 4, set your focus. Here, there's a nice wheel adapter. So I use 9-point continuous focus on my Nikon D7200, and I'm always moving the focus point round, trying to frame the shot. We'll have the subject in the particular part of the frame I want, and then I'll move the focus point to the eye, or if it's something like a nudibranch, to the rhinopore. So make sure your photos are sharp, at the point of focus, and make sure your focus is on the correct part of your subject. Point 5. Lighting. Lighting is key to getting great shots underwater. So I have a TTL converter and my housing connected to my camera, the top camera plate. But what I do is I actually use my strobes in manual. I have a default position and then I go to from there. Usually I'll have my strobes quite close to the lens. That conserves power because the further your strobes are, if you put them back here for macro subjects, maybe you're going to need to use much more powerful strobe settings. So you can save your strobes a little bit, or if you've got less powerful strobes, make sure you keep the strobes closer to your camera housing. Then adjust where your strobes are pointing. Ideally, you want the strobe angle to just kiss your subject. That will give you the best lighting effect, but also minimize backscatter. Once you've got that set up, maybe then you can adjust your strobes if you get closer to your subject. Maybe you'll need to move your strobes slightly forwards. Again, making sure you just kiss the subjects. And then if you can play around with different lighting effects. Maybe in asymmetric lighting, have one strobe close to the lens and the other one moving further behind. You can also use torches, maybe behind the subject, to get interesting backlighting effects. Well, those are my 5 tips for improving your photography with a DSLR. Remember, photography is not a spectator sport. See you next time.